Welcome to another back-of-the-net recording. This is to help you with solving quadratic equations, and a quadratic equation is one where you have an x squared term. In this case, it says solve this quadratic equation giving you an answer to three significant figures. The fact that you're going to need to give it to three significant figures is a big clue that you're going to need to use the quadratic formula. So the first thing we need to do is remember what the quadratic formula is. It is x equals minus b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac, and all of that all divided by 2a. And that works for equations where ax squared plus bx plus c is equal to 0. That's something you need to remember. For some of you will get it in your exam depending which board you do, and for some you won't. Now I've got that bit of information there, I can apply it to my particular question. So in this question, x squared plus 7x plus 4 equals 0. The number in front of the x is 1. It's not there, but it is a 1. So a equals 1. b is equal to the number from the x term, so in this case 7, and c is the constant on the end, in this case 4. Here's my equation. I just now rewrite it, putting these numbers in. Minus b, so minus 7, plus or minus the square root of b, 7 squared, minus 4 times, because it's a letter next to a number, 4 times a is 1, times c is 4, and all of that is divided by 2 times a, which in this case is 1. And all I've got to do is put that in my calculator. So this is the calculator I normally use. I like it because it does things as a fraction, and it's got a replay button. Now, this is a big fraction really, so I'm going to start off by pressing the fraction button. And here now I have my fraction started up for me. On the top, I want negative 7, minus 7. Notice how I've used the little minus key rather than the take away key. Subtract the square root key is there, of 7 squared, there's the x squared cube, 7 squared, minus 4 times 1 times 4, and all of that is divided by, and notice how then I just use that button to scroll down to the bottom half, 2 times a, and in this case a is 1, press equals, and I've given it to me there as a surd. They've asked for it to 3 significant figures, so I'm going to press the SD button, go from surds to decimals, and it's come out as minus 6.372281. Now, I want it to 3 significant figures, so 1, 2, 3. If I cut it off at the 7 there, that's still a 2, so it's minus 6.37. So x equals minus 6.37. Now that's one solution. If you look carefully here, the formula, I've got plus or minus because you can take the positive or negative square root. I chose this time around to take the minus. That was probably a mistake. I probably should have done the plus because I always like doing the plus first. It's my normal routine. It doesn't matter which you do, because now you can just go for the replay, go backwards by pressing the up arrow, and now if we just scroll backwards through it, when we get to this point here, okay, that was a mistake. That was a real shame. Let's go for on. I'm just going to quickly retype in that. I'm sorry about that. Hit the wrong button. That was clumsy. Trying to watch the screen at the same time as do the calculation. So just bear with me while I type in this formula. All divided by 2 times 1. Okay. Press equals. That's where we were before. Right. Scroll back up. So I want to be so clumsy this time. And when I get to that negative sign, I'm going to press the delete button to delete just a negative and change it now to a positive. I've now typed all this formula in again, but with a positive there. Press equals, get my surd, go surds to decimal, and the second answer here is or x can be equal to minus 0.62. Now looking here, 627 will be chopped off there for 3 decimal places. That means it's got to round up to the 8. There we go. That's my answer done. And both of those are correct. I've checked them before. Okay, let's just do a quick recap. First thing we did, identify it as a quadratic because it had an x squared. We then realised we'd need to use our calculator because it's the 3 significant figures, so we're unlikely better to factorise that in that way. I copied out the formula, minus b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac, all divided by 2a, and that works for ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0. I've then substituted these values in the formula. To know what the values were, I just looked and cross-referenced from here to there and wrote down what each one was. I then typed it into my calculator. The first time through I did the negative. I then messed up a bit in trying to change it to positive, but finally I did it and went through with the positive and came out with these two answers, being careful to give them to the 3 significant figures of accuracy as asked in the question. Let's have a look at a second example. Okay. So again, I know I'm going to use the formula, so it's minus b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a, and that's what x equals. And that's for ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0. So let's find out my values here. A is 1 again, b is 6, c is negative 3. So let's write my formula out. X equals minus b, so minus 6 plus or minus the square root of x squared minus 4 times a, which is 1, times c, which in this case is negative 3. Notice I've put that negative 3 in brackets. We'll come to how to do that on the calculator in a minute. All divided by 2 times a, where a is 1, 2 times 1. I'm now going to type that in my calculator for you so you can see. I'll just cover the formula over there so you can see how I'm typing it in. Just going to press on to clear it. So first of all, we've got negative 6. I'm going to go for the plus this time, plus the square root of 6 squared minus 4 times 1 times, and here I'm going to do brackets negative 3 and then close the bracket. All of that is divided by 2a. Now I've made a mistake there. That was partially deliberate because you've got to this point now and the problem is you can't have that as a fraction. What you could do is put a bracket, if I can get there, at the very end so that all of that is in it, and at the very top, the very start, if I can get it in there, put a bracket at the start, so that's all the top in there now, and that is divided by, I get to the end of it, that is divided by 2 times 1. Some of the teachers might have talked like that. I don't particularly like that way, so I'm going to start it again, go for the fraction button, negative 6 plus the square root of 6 squared minus 4 times 1 times brackets negative 3, and now I can scroll down for the all divided by 2 times 1. Press equals, let's SD that, and the answer I'm getting there, the first one, is that x equals 0.46. The third place is coming up. It's a 4 followed by a 1, so it can stay as the 4. That's my first example. Go to replay, first solution, go to replay, change that plus or minus bit from being a plus, delete it, change it for a minus, press equals, up comes my answer in surd form, surd to decimals, second answer minus 6.4. Now I'm going to check the 6. 6 got 4 there, so it stays as a 6. So those are the 2 possible solutions to that equation. Okay. Let's have a look at question 3. I'm just going to hold that there. Now this time we've got the equation here. Let's just copy it down. X equals minus b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac, all divided by 2a. We know that a is going to be equal to 1, b this time was equal to negative 4, and c equals negative 6. So let's substitute that into my formula. Minus b, so it's minus 4 plus or minus the square root of minus 4 squared minus 4 times a 1 times c minus 6, and all of that is divided by 2 times 1, and that is what our solution will be, x equals. Let's go to type that in the calculator. We're going to need a bit of care here. So it is minus bracket negative 4 plus, going for the plus solution first, the square root of, now I've just started and I've already forgotten, hopefully you've noticed too, I forgot to do a fraction button. Let's try again. Minus negative 4 plus the square root of negative 4 squared. Notice how I've typed that in, the negative 4, then square, and the negative 4 has to be in brackets. This is so you're squaring the negative as well as the 4. So that's the minus b squared. Minus 4 times 1 times negative 6, again in the bracket so it's times it properly, and all of that is divided by 2 times 1. Let's press the equals button. 2 plus the square root of 10. That's in third form. Let's get it into decimal form. So x equals 5.16. The 2 there, so it will remain as a 6. Don't delete it, go back up, scroll through until we get to the bit we want, where we've got that plus or minus bit. Delete the plus, change it for a minus, press equals. Not quite sure what's happened there, sorry, you're back with us. Press equals, SD it, S equals minus 1.1, and it will be a 6 because that's a 2. Okay. That's 3 relatively straightforward questions. I know they're complicated, but it's straightforward in terms of this level of question. I'm just going to show you 2 other ones. The first one of which is a quadratic. The question was the same. Sorry, that should be question 4. It's the 4th one we're trying. And that should be question 5 in a minute. Now, it is a quadratic equation because it has an x squared term. However, it's not in the form we require. Remember, for the formula, x equals minus b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac, all of that over 2a, it had to be that x equals, that ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0. And as you can see, it's not in that form, it's not equaling 0. So my first step in this equation is to change that equation, or manipulate it to be 2x squared minus 7x. Now I need to add 4 to both sides. To get negative 4, add 4 would give me 0. That means I add 4 to this side as well, equals 0. And now it's in the same form here of equaling 0. That's a crucial step. And this is one that examiners have got wise to recently, and they keep giving this type of question now, so that you know you've got to make that first stage of getting it equal to 0. Okay, so now a equals 2, b equals negative 7, and c equals 4. So x equals minus b, so minus 7, plus or minus the square root of minus 7 squared minus times 2, in this case a is 2, times c, 4, all divided by 2 times a, which is 2. Okay, here we go. Put it in the calculator. Let's get that fraction button done first of all this time. Here goes. Negative brackets minus 7 plus the square root of negative 7 squared minus 4 times 2 times 4, all divided by 2 times 2. Okay, press the equals. There it is in third form. Sometimes you get asked for it in third form, but we are asked for 3 significant figures. Let's just press SD. There we go. 2.780. So to 3 sig fig, x equals 2.78. There we go. Now I need my second solution. To do that, go to replay, all the way back through it. Empty file there. Delete, change that to a negative. Press equals again. SD that. 0.71, and it can be 719 because there's a 2 there. Okay. So again, that's really quite straightforward once you've made that initial step, and that's a tricky bit. You must have it in the form x squared, x constant, ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0. Otherwise you can't do it. Okay, the last question I'm going to show you. I've chosen this one because this really is quite a tricky one. It doesn't at first glance look like a quadratic equation. However, when you multiply that bracket, you're going to get an x squared. So my first step is to multiply the bracket on this side. X times 3x, 3x squared. X times 2 plus 2x equals 4 minus 7x. Okay. Still not looking like a quadratic in the way we'd normally see it. I need to get it equal to 0. To do that, I need to add 7x to both sides and take a 4x from both sides. So 3x squared plus 2x is what it is. Now add on my 7x. That's effectively cancelled out that one there. And now subtract 4, which is cancelled out that one there. So that would be equal to 0. Just tidy that a little. 3x squared plus 9x minus 4 equals 0. Okay, now I've got my quadratic in a form I like. I can apply the formula, minus b plus or minus the square root, b squared minus 4ac, all over 2a, and that of course is what x equals when it's in the form ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0, which this is. So a equals 3, b equals 9, c equals negative 4. Let's put it in the formula. Now I haven't said up to now how important this stage is. This is a crucial stage because substituting these values into the formula correctly gets you a couple of marks. So it's really worth writing out, even though you could just be typing it straight in the calculator. I'll be honest with you, when I'm doing this to work out solutions myself, I just type it straight in the calculator. But you're doing it for an exam probably, you need to show the workings along the way. Really, really crucial. Here goes then. First of all, x equals minus b, so minus 9, plus or minus the square root of b squared, 9 squared, minus 4 times a, 3, times c, which is negative 4 in this case, all divided by 2 times a, which is 3. Okay, over to the calculator. Don't forget that fraction button to get us started. Here goes. Minus 9 plus the square root of 9 squared minus 4 times 3 times negative 4, all divided by 2 times 3. Press equals. That's it in third form. I want it in decimal form, and that's given me the answer x equals 0.39. Now that's a 2 there, but next door is a 9, so that 2 will have to round up. Is nearer to 393 than it is to 392. 393. Let's go back and do the second solution. Just change that plus or minus bit from the plus to the take away. Let's SD that. X equals minus 3.39. Check it, 9 are 2's there, so that's fine. There we go. There are my two answers. Okay, so Let's just do a tiny little recap. First of all, let's get the first sheet of paper ready for you to read. This was the first question. It said, solve this, I should have written these really, shouldn't I? Quadratic equation, giving your answer to 3 significant figures. As soon as I saw 3 significant figures, I knew I'd be using the formula. I copied the formula out, made sure I knew what it was about. Right, I didn't probably say at the time enough, you must write this stage out because that's where you get quite a lot of method marks. When you've done that, into your calculator, don't forget using the replay button to change it. If it's not in the form, here, ax squared plus bx plus c, as this one here wasn't, it's not equal to 0, you have to do some rearranging of your equation to get it into that form. Sometimes it will even be less straightforward, as was this the case. Multiply it out, then do your rearranging, make sure you clearly write what the values a, b and c are. Put it into the formula, write out your 2 answers. Okay, hope that's been really good and useful to you. Do come back, oops, my pen, do come back another time.